Second module, a rabbit, a young one. Who gave it to you, father? But he laughed enigmatically and went to take off his coat. We jumped towards the rabbit. Is it alive? Can you feel its heartbeat? My father came back and sat down heavily in his armchair. He dragged his saucer to him and blew his tea, pushing out his red lips under his black mustache. So now, when the father had placed this rabbit in front of the children on the dining table, they were all very, very happy. And out of their happiness, they all started talking, and then they were asking, is it alive? Can we feel its heartbeat and everything? And then here the father, because he was tired, he went and rested on the armchair, and then he took his saucer and then he started off drinking his tea, what was poured in it. Page 71. Where did you get it, father? I picked it up, he said, wiping his naked forearm over his mouth and beard. Where? It is a wild one, came my mother's quick voice. Yes, it is. Then why did you bring it? Cried my mother. Oh, we wanted it, came our cry. Yes, I have no doubt you did, answered my mother sharply. But she was drowned in the clamor of our questions. So now here, the children are asking they're asking their father where he had found the rabbit, and then the mother is also a little excited, in the sense, excited not because of happiness. She's she is reacting that why did her husband bring a wild rabbit to back home here. And then the children, they told that yes, the father bought it because we wanted it in the first place. So the mother, she says yes, she is reacting to the reply of the children, and she says yes, there's no doubt that you all want a pet here. But then whatever she was trying to say was all drowned because of the excitement that the children were showing at the sight of the rabbit. Continuing in the text, on the field path, my father had found a dead mother rabbit and three dead little ones. This one alive but unmoving. But what killed them, father? I couldn't say, my child. I should think she had eaten something. Why did you bring it? Said my mother again in a voice of condemnation. You know what it will be like. My father made no answer, but we were loud in disagreement. He did a good thing by bringing it. It is not big enough to live by itself. It would die, we shouted. Yes, and it will die now, and then there will be another outcry. My mother hated the tragedy of dead pets. Our hearts sank. So now here, the children, out of their excitement, they were all, how small children react, when they get very excited, when they see something new and they do not know how to react. So here also, in the same way, this was what it was happening here. The children were reacting at the sight of the baby rabbit that was placed in front of them, because it did not seem to be like a live one. It seemed like as if it was made thing. It was a statue or something. And then the questions started pouring out, and then the father told the children that he had found a dead mother with three baby rabbits next to her. Only this little one was alive. And so the children, they were inquisitive as to what could be the reason that what killed them, what was it that the mother rabbit and the three baby were found dead. So the father told that he did not know what could be the reason. He told maybe because these are wild rabbits, maybe it was because the rabbit and those three young ones had eaten something, and it reacted to them. So then here again the mother, she says, then why did you bring this baby rabbit home? She was, not very happy. She was actually not for having a baby wild rabbit in their home, because she knows what would happen. Because she has gone through this experience, she knows that the children had pets before, and then when they lost their pets, she was the one who had to face the children and the emotions of the children. She was the one who had to bring them out of the emotions that the children were going through when they lost the pet. So she was frightened that it would repeat here also, when this baby rabbit would not be able to survive. So then the father, when he heard his wife's tone, he did not reply back. In fact, it was the children who replied, and says that no, father did a good thing in bringing him back, in bringing it here. And in fact, they said that in fact that baby rabbit would die if nobody was there to take care of it. But now, since it is here, they would be the ones who would take care of it, and it would not die. Then the mother, like, she was a little angry, and then she says, but very soon this will be it will die now, and then there will be another outcry. So, and then she says that this rabbit seems to be so weak, and then if proper care is not taken and given, then all of y'all will start being very sorrowful or disappointed over it, and then a tragedy would strike, and then all of y'all would sulk and moan over it. And then mother, she says that she hated the tragedy that would accompany when pets die, because these small children, they are the ones who are usually affected by all this. So she did not want her children to go through such situation again. Now page 72. It won't die, father, will it? Why will it? It won't. I should think not, said father. You know very well it will. Haven't we had it all before? Said my mother. They don't always die, said my father angrily. So now here the conversation is happening between the father, mother, and the children are questioning the father as to whether this pet will survive, and they are inquiring about it. And then the father reassures the children and saying that definitely this is not going to die. Then the mother, she comes into the conversation. Then she says that she is in a very questioningly, she's putting the question to her husband and saying that you very well know it, and we have all gone through this experience. Then the father, he got angry and he says they don't always die. He's saying it's not necessary that the pets, whichever pets we have bought, they immediately die. Yes, they may have died after a certain while, but not. But my mother reminded him of other little wild animals he had brought, which had sulked and refused to live, and had brought storms of tears and troubles in our house. So now here the narrator says that the mother was reminding her husband of all those times when he had brought other small wild creatures, and then how those wild creatures, because they were so used to living in the open and being independent here, and when they were brought here they were unable to adjust, and how they sulked and reacted by refusing to, adapt to their, not adopt, adapt to their new surroundings. And finally, when those wild pets died, it affected the children of the house. Trouble fell on us. The little rabbit sat on our lap, unmoving, its eyes wide and dark. We brought it milk, warm milk, and held it to its nose. It sat as still as it was, far away, hidden in its hole. We wetted its mouth with drops of milk. It gave no sign, did not even shake off the wet drops. Somebody began to shed a few secret tears. So now the narrator goes on to say that now trouble started for them, because these small children, they were excited, and since they saw a baby rabbit, they knew how to take care of tiny little baby creatures which their father had frequently brought home. So they knew how to take care of these tiny creatures. So they kept the rabbit on their lap, and that rabbit did not show any reaction. It sat there unmoving, and it with its bright wide dark eyes, because it was all this time it was running around in the wild, in the open, and now here it was suddenly seeing 5 pairs of eyes and human beings staring at him. So these children, they wanted to feed the little rabbit, so they brought milk, and that also they knew. They brought warm milk, and they placed it at its nose, thinking that smelling the milk, the rabbit would at once start drinking it or licking it. But then it says that the reaction of the rabbit was that there was no reaction, and it sat like as if it was hidden away in its hole. And so these little children, they wanted to persuade the rabbit to start drinking, thinking that okay, maybe the rabbit is unable to lick and drink. So they started wetting its mouth, putting small tiny drops of milk near its mouth, but still there was no sign of that at least licking that milk or taking it inside. Somebody began to shed a few secret tears. So now here it says that the younger siblings of the narrator, that time the narrator was a boy, his 2 younger sisters, they they were now reacting that as to why this little rabbit was not drinking the milk. And so they silently in their minds, they were not showing it, but in their minds they were crying. "What did I say?" cried my mother. "Take it and put it down in the field." So now when the mother saw that the baby was not this thing, so she became a little angry, and then she told the children that to remove it from the dining table and send it back into the open. Her command was in vain. We were driven to get dressed to school. There sat the rabbit. It was a tiny, obscure cloud. Watching it, the emotions died out of our breast. Useless to love it, to earn for it. It did not want love and affection. A wild little thing, it became more silent when we approached it with love. So now here the mother knew that the children were all excited because of the presence of the rabbit there, but then she chased the children and reminded that it was time for them to go to school. And then she was saying, and then the narrator goes on to say that useless to love it, to earn for it. So he says that now he was finding it that it was actually all very useless to shower love on this little creature there, because it was not accepting the love. And the narrator or the little boy realized that it did not want love and affection now. It, in fact, it became it withdrew into its shell, and it became more silent and frightened, because whenever whenever these children approached it, with the intention of loving it, this little creature, withdrew back into its shell. Okay, children, I'll stop my second audio here.